I am so embarrassed by that intro. Oh my God.
So awesome! You were doing a dance.
I got a whole thing going on. Hi, Carmen.
Hi, Dylan. How you doing?
Are you? I'm doing so good.
Okay.
I'm so excited for our show here.
I am too. Like, we sort of started talking about something like this, like, well, it seems like so much longer ago than it was.
Yeah. Well, you know, time is not real, so yeah.
No.
But yeah, I'm so excited for us to get started. So this is Bake by Bake. This is our baking tips and tricks, a little bit of sass, fun time show. And yeah, Carmen and I are gonna talk through some baking videos, give you some handy tips.
Yeah.
What else? What else are we gonna do?
Maybe well, I don't know. Depends on what happens, but there's always the chance that I'll sing. You know this.
This is true. This is true.
You never know.
I did want to start off by first introducing the world, because I'm sure the world is watching. To us. So Carmen, who are you?
So many things, Dylan. I'm so many things. Well, I have this baking side hustle. So there's that.
Yes.
And at this point, I feel like it's maybe semi-professional, but I really just do it for fun and stress relief. But I'm a singer and a mom and a teacher. And yeah, that's who I am. Who are you?
Well, my name is Dylan, and I'm also a crazy baker. And in my day job, I'm a designer. I'm an app and website designer, a UX designer, and I also love to bake. And we actually met.
We have a very exciting story.
We do, yeah. So we met a couple years ago, auditioning for a certain baking show that happens in a certain tent in a certain country with a queen.
And it's great.
But not British, because we're not British. But
I could sound like I am, sort of.
I won't try.
Okay. I'll stop trying because I'm not very good at it.
Yeah, that might be a good call. Just saying. I do want to address my shirt. Also. So my shirt says, that's what I do. I bake and I know things. I got this shirt from, thank you. Here. So you can really take it in. My gorgeous chest.
Yeah, it looks great. You look fantastic.
And Mr. DJ, everyone, by the way.
Mr. DJ. Hey, Mr. DJ.
Okay, we can't do more than that licensing. So thank you, Ben, for mentioning that. This is a Game of Thrones reference. Of course, Tyrion Lannister says, that's what I do. I drink and I know things. But funny story about the shirt. My mom got me this shirt for, I believe, my birthday last year, and had absolutely no idea that it was a reference to Game of Thrones.
Well,
she was just like,
you
bake and you're smart, so I thought you'd want this shirt. And I was like,
it seems reasonable.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
My husband got me a shirt with He-Man on it, and it says, I have the flower. Maybe I'll wear that next time. Because for Mother's Day, which is an awesome present, but it didn't arrive till August because the mail's a mess.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Okay, so what?
The flower. I'm supposed to have words. Yeah. Nope. Okay. We're all good.
At first, I thought my sound went out, and I was like, "Oh God, what's happening?"
No.
Our first show, what is happening?
Sorry, didn't mean
to say what is happening. So what we're gonna do, the way that the show is gonna work. So each episode, Carmen and I have pre-recorded us making basically our favorite recipes. You know, things that we go to, things that we love, things that we've had a lot of people ask us questions about. Being, Instagram and Facebook baking stars is, a really tough job, and people ask us a lot of questions. And so we recorded ourselves doing these recipes, and we're going to play them for you and sort of talk through a little bit about how it works, hopefully share some helpful tips. maybe rag on each other a little bit, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. We are both known for our gracious and caring, loving commentary.
Mm-hmm. But
right?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah, no, I mean, there's always something, you can always find something good. Oh no,
Yes.
I mean, there
Yes,
was shade. But
there's
you
always
can
shade.
always find something good to say about someone's bake. You know?
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
almost always.
You could say, well, this is baked.
Yeah, you did it.
Yeah. You.
And that's you know, it never hurts to lead with kindness, right?
Sure.
However,
that's not my style.
No, it's not. It's not yours. So, you know, but yes, these are a lot of the things that you're going to see over, especially the next couple of episodes, are very specific things that we have decided that would be helpful for people to see us doing them and how we do it. And if because one thing that I've learned is a lot of people, like, they think that baking is, they have this mindset where it's this science, everything has to be so exact. And Dylan, you're way more exact than I am in your baking. I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah, no,
I gotta handle the dog and the children. And I don't have, but there's a certain you know, the ratios are something that are important to kind of, that's what you have to get right. You know, right? So there are a lot of people who ask me about, I don't know, I can't make this exact. I'm like, no, you just slow down.
Slow your roll.
Slow your roll. Just read through the entire recipe. Here's a tip. This is a very important tip.
Mr. DJ,
hot tip. When you, especially with a new recipe, read through the entire thing. It's
maybe twice. Do it
twice, because there have been times, and I do this all the time, where I don't, and then I just get it. It's messed up.
Very wrong. Yeah.
Very wrong. Read the damn recipe. Okay, because once you read the recipe, you'll realize that it's not rocket science. It's not a mystical, you know, thing. Just read through the recipe.
Yeah.
Number one tip.
Yeah.
This is our first episode. We're going to start with the first most important thing. Hot tip, read through the recipe.
Yeah. I think that's so good. That's super great. What was I going to say? I think another thing you'll notice after you do a similar kind of thing, so like if you start baking bread or start doing cakes a lot, is that the steps are usually follow some kind of pattern. Like they follow, there's a logic behind them of why you do certain things. And I feel like that's some of the stuff that we are going to try and like demystify, so you can be a little more confident.
Yeah. That's what we want to be confident in your bakes, because shout out to the Facebook, my Facebook support group.
Yeah.
I mean, the Heights Baking Company Facebook support group, those people really put it all out there, and they have done a good job in the time of Corona to get all the bakes out to their families. It's good. It's good stuff.
It's important. It's necessary.
Yep.
Without further ado, we should kind of jump into it. So we've decided in our pre-production meeting, we're going to go through my video first, and I will intro this a little bit. So for the first episode, mainly because we're trying to figure out how to do this, Carmen and I decided that we are just going to make a couple of our favorite, pretty basic recipes, but like amped up a little bit. So for my recipe, I'm going to be making my favorite chocolate chip cookies. And what's super exciting about these chocolate chip cookies, the recipe is generally from a blog called Host the Toast, Mr. DJ. Thank you very much. And it's an incredible recipe. What they call it is a cafe style cookie. So these are like the big honkin' chocolate chip, chocolate chunk, big chocolate chip cookies. Like they are so good. And I tweak this recipe a little bit because I start off by using brown butter instead of regular melted butter. And so that's what we're going to start with. So brown butter is this amazing thing where it's basically just butter that you melt and then take beyond in like the heating process. And it turns this lovely like caramelly brown color, and it creates this really kind of nutty flavor. So we will get started and let's do this. So the recipe originally calls for 1.5 sticks of butter. I use 2 sticks of butter because when you're cooking it, some of the water in the butter is going to evaporate. So super simple. You need a light colored pan. So I'm using my stainless steel pan here over medium heat. Just toss the butter in and melt it. And you just kind of want to let it go. There's number 2. Boom. And then you're just going to let it melt down. Oh, look at that.
Your swirly skills are very professional looking.
Thank you. I've been watching a lot of swirl. No, I have not. I have not been practicing that. It just happens. But so what you're going to do is take it all the way down, get a good swirl, get a nice melted butter. Yes. And you're going to see it does all this like pop, 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 and it makes a really great sound, which we don't have right now. But then as it cooks further, you see it gets darker brown. And the important thing is that there's a really like short window from when it's brown to burnt, and you don't want to burn it.
No, don't walk away.
Nice and brown, you're just going to pour it through a sieve. And what that does is trying to help like clear out some of the maybe like burn bits that came through, some of the fat. And then you get this nice, beautiful, like clear brown butter.
Now, I like that tip. I never strain mine.
It's such a good thing to do. Now, what happens is you'll see I'm doing this, and like this was where I was talking in the video, and then we cut it. I do that.
It looked like you were measuring your finger up against.
I was not. I was just making a point. Okay. So what you want to do before you actually start using the brown butter is you do want to let it cool off to room temperature, or like warm room temperature. The thing is, like, if you take it straight out of the pan and try and put it with other things like eggs, it'll scramble them, and that will not make a good cookie. So once you strain your brown butter, leave it off to the side, let it chill out, and then you'll be ready to use it. So
I always put mine in the refrigerator because I have no patience.
That's a good tip. However,
you can't do it for too long or you're screwed.
Exactly. So you never want to take anything that was boiling and immediately put it into the fridge. What you're going to do, Carmen, is you're going to raise the temperature of your fridge because of all of the hot stuff that you just put into it, and it could make food in your fridge go bad, and you don't want that to happen.
Yeah. I don't do it right away. Sometimes I don't have time.
No, I get it.
On the counter because of the dog and the children and stuff.
I get it.
But yes, but that is it's a quick tip, but just be careful.
Yeah. The other nice thing about brown butter is it preserves it for a little while. So if you make your brown butter ahead of time, you can let it come to room temperature and then keep it in the fridge for a couple weeks, really. And it's delicious to like even just spread on toast or, not even bake with. Like you can just eat it, and it's so good. And it really does make a difference. So that's the nice thing is like it's not too much work, but it makes a huge difference. And it creates this like kind of nutty, like caramelly flavor. I'm going to say the word nutty quite a lot during the video. We love nutty things.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's nutty without nuts.
It is. Yeah. This chocolate chip cookie recipe does not have any nuts in it, but you still get that delicious, like kind of walnutty, nutty flavor.
There you go. You've said it like 6 times.
I know. I should get a count. I want Mr. D. This is going to be way too much for you, but I would love Mr. DJ for us to have a count of how many times I say nutty.
Oh, Mr. DJ, that's so much work for you.
I know.
Anyway,
but what else is he doing? pulling up our next video.
Yep. I'll try.
So
Cool.
thank you, Mr. DJ.
All right, are we going back? Are we going back into the videos and into the cookie?
Yes. So that was the little like pre-video brown butter, get yourself ready. Now we're going to queue up the actual baking. And I think this does have sound. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mr. DJ? No, you can play it.
Yeah.
Play it.
Go for it, Mr. DJ.
Mr. DJ.
2 cups of all-purpose flour plus 2 tablespoons. Now, you may have seen some talk about this on other baking shows about how to properly measure flour. Personally, I really like to use weight measurements, but this recipe has volume measurements in it. So I'm going to do it this way. So instead of just kind of digging my measuring cup into the flour, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this other spoon and kind of lightly...
It's a giant spoon for scooping.
Isn't that great?
Put the flour into the cup.
I think if I use that spoon, I would get flour everywhere.
Well, that's why you do it in the container.
I know, but I'm gonna be very like transparent, and like you do this very well, and this is what I'm talking about with you measuring things versus me. I'm really terrible about doing this step.
Well, you know what can happen?
I'm really terrible.
If you dip it into any like dry ingredient, really like flour or sugar or anything like that, flour especially, it can get so compressed, and you can end up with like tons of extra flour than what you wanted, and your baking can turn out super dry.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I always fluff it before I scoop it.
So we're going to be using 1 teaspoon of baking soda.
1 teaspoon.
2 teaspoons of cornstarch. So cornstarch is a really interesting addition to this recipe.
Yes, that is interesting.
The cookies.
I forgot about that. I looked at this recipe.
It makes them super chewy. Also, do not forget the salt. Salt is so important in baking.
Oh, yeah, I made bread last week and I forgot the salt. It still tasted good because it's fresh bread, but
yeah, it needs salt. Pretty much everything needs salt.
Everything, sweet things, everything.
If you sift your flour, anything that's kind of light. These cookies are pretty dense, so it doesn't really matter. But we just want to kind of whisk them up to incorporate them.
Yeah, so I'm just mixing those dry ingredients now.
And also, a fork works for whisking as well. That's a tip. Yeah.
So even when we're using the brown butter, which
so many tips today.
We are going to use the same volume measurement because if you use more, it would set off it would change the moisture or the hydration ratio, which would make
can we pause that for a sec actually, Mr. DJ? Thank you. So I wanted to just sort of explain a little bit more because unless that was unclear. So I was talking about how I made the brown butter. It needed 1.5 cups, but I made it from 2 sticks. And the reason I was measuring that out was I wasn't exactly sure how much volume would have still been in there. And so it looked like a lot more than what I had, but you'll see that I'm sitting there very carefully measuring my 1.5 cups, and it turned out to be exactly 1.5 cups in the entire bowl. So that's just my like precision. I guess what you could do is just be like, take 2 sticks of butter, melt it down to brown butter, and it'll turn out a 1.5 sticks.
Which is probably what I would do. However, you're right. And also different butters have different levels of water content. Like if you get like the fancy European butter at the store, they have less water in them. The cheaper the butter, the more water. Generally.
Yeah. All right. So let's get back to the video.
We're going to put dark brown sugar and regular white
people
sugar.
Are taking notes.
So I like keeping my sugar in these containers because it keeps the sugar nice and soft. The brown sugar can definitely be a problem sometimes.
Another hot tip for keeping brown sugar soft. If you don't have sealed containers like this, if you put the brown sugar in a Ziploc bag with a slice of regular sandwich bread, it stays moist forever and the bread never molds or goes bad.
Or, and that's a really good tip. I have a round, it's about this big. Maybe on another show I'll bring it out. I have a round clay disc
I've seen that.
that I stand it's it's only like a couple of dollars at the baking supply store, but you soak it in water for a while and then put it in the brown sugar and it keeps it soft.
Nice. It's all about that moisture.
And so basically what we want is we just want everything to be nice and combined and kind of one
really
liquidy kind of mass. I'm going to start on low just because it's always safer. Start on low.
Oh yeah, you started on high with that flour.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's just sugar and.
You haven't put the flour in yet.
Yeah, I know. I took a while making this video. I'm sorry.
We're gonna do this for 30 seconds to a minute. It smells really good already.
That's that nutty brown butter.
That nutty brown butter and the brown sugar also makes
I'm gonna just take
extra.
This off so I can show you what it looks like.
But
so it's
interesting.
Kind of liquidy. It's kind of I don't know what the word is.
Thing about the reason you've got brown sugar and white sugar in a recipe.
So a lot of people get confused because we're talking about wet ingredients here, but so far the only thing wet that I've put in is the butter. A lot of times in baking, sugars are considered wet ingredients because you end up whipping it together with butter and then eggs or milk or water or whatever it is that you end up using. So
y'all, I'm so knowledgeable.
You have so many good tips today.
Considered a wet ingredient.
I was going to say about the brown sugar and the white sugar. The white sugar provides the crisp in a cookie. The brown sugar provides the chew.
Yes.
So a lot of times cookies that are typically chewier. I mean, now we've got this cornstarch tip, which like has blown my mind. But a lot of cookies that have a higher brown sugar content generally are chewier than cookies with just white sugar. Like it's a thing. And there are certain things like sugar cookies that you have to do to just change things if they only have white sugar to make them actually stay chewy.
I would actually probably add cornstarch to them if you wanted them to be.
Now I'm going to just add it to everything.
It's really good. It's really good to make it like tender. I mean, you'll see the.
I mean, I can't. Yes, we'll see it. It'll be awesome. Roll the tape, Mr. DJ.
I'm going to put them in both at the same time.
We're adjusting the volume. That makes sense. We're talking over ourselves anyway.
2.
So right now I'm just packing the eggs into there.
Spoons of vanilla extract, right?
Vanilla.
They're going to go right in.
I have my own vanilla making project in the cabinet right now.
I wish I could make my own vanilla extract. It's so expensive.
What I'm doing right now is I'm just
Vodka.
scraping the bottom of the bowl to make sure everything
Beans.
is getting incorporated.
Oh yeah, looks
And
good.
It kind of looks like this.
Goopy and lovely.
It's like stringy.
What I've learned is I need a camera over my mixer so you can see it.
Yeah,
But
yeah, to get that egg full, so you can see the egg.
just fold it in.
Just fold it in.
Just fold it in, David.
Just fold it
You
in.
don't want to put too much. You don't want to mix this too much. Put too much air into the batter because that would make it more kind of cakey than cookie-y.
Nobody likes a cakey cookie. I mean, some people do, but I don't.
Mainly just to kind of help it incorporate and make sure everything gets in there smoothly. I guess I'll probably do it in like 3 stages. We'll see how it goes. So I'm just going to tip this in. You don't need to be super specific, but yeah.
I should just take the flour that's on my table and use that because look, I'm such a fucking flop.
Like, that's not that much. I mean, dude, I got flour all over the place.
I know, but I'm sitting there on looking at my black countertop with this white flour, just like, you dummy, you just wasted that. Like,
no, it's fine. I mean, usually, like if I have flour on my counter, I get most of the flour on the counter when I'm making bread, and then I just use it if I need the bread.
That's true. I don't need these cookies though. So.
No, because that would make them terrible.
So I don't really get covered in flour.
I haven't ever. I like how I mean, it's very. It's very exact. I usually don't add the flour in stages with cookies the way that I would with a cake. That's pretty good. Just because, again, me just like just throwing it.
But honestly, well, you'll see because it when I recorded this, I had a hot tip about not over mixing.
Yeah.
And I was afraid that I might have actually over mixed these because of doing.
Because of adding it. Interesting.
But I didn't want big clumps of flour, right?
make sure.
Yeah.
So actually, can we pause here, Mr. DJ? I just want to give another very important hot tip.
Oh, hot tip. Yes, I know what the hot tip is that you're going to say.
Scrape your bowl of
Yes.
your mixer. All the time, every time, do it.
Yes.
Because even though these mixers are great, they do so much of the work for us, they can't get into the little dips on the bottom of the bowl. So scrape your damn bowl.
Yes.
All right? Do it. Get a rubber spatula, get in there, get all the stuff in there, because like, especially if you're making something harder than cookies, like I made macarons once and I had like maybe 50 grams of almond flour just like hanging out on the bottom of my bowl, not incorporated, and they turned out a mess. So
yeah. With that kind of and those are hard to mix together, which was why you need to have that spatula.
Yes.
Because the egg whites are the spatula needs
Get my spatula!
because with the macarons, it's so light, you have to keep the egg whites light. And so a lot of times, Dylan, you've yelled at me many times about this. You're like, you did what? Because I usually make them by hand because I'm freaked out that I'm going to get everything overmixed when I make macarons. And so I just whip it well. And so then there's less scraping. But anyway, moving on to the cookies.
Yes. Let's head back to our video here.
The chocolate chip cookies, not the macaron.
Not the macarons. That's different.
That's another episode.
I don't know if that'll be right.
I don't know.
Chocolate chips.
It needs
I was
to not
actually
be
running a little low on chocolate chips, so I ended up taking some larger chocolate pieces and just kind of chopping them up.
Highly recommend doing that with chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah. I just get bars these days.
Yeah, even if you don't have like all chocolate pieces, like if you have 3/4 of it is chips and then just a few chunks,
Yep.
it really, really helps and makes it look really pretty.
Yep.
Just fold it in.
We're just folding it in. Fold it in, David.
I hopefully maybe
and then
they'll see this.
Probably the most cookies is chocolate, obviously. So we have a cup and a half of chocolate chips.
Did we just do
this? I was actually running a little low on chocolate chips, so I ended up.
Yeah.
Deja vu.
Whew.
Deja vu.
Whew. It's okay.
Some larger
but that's
just kind of chopping
you know, sometimes I've been in a fix and the kids have wanted chocolate chip cookies and I had like some bar of chocolate that's somebody gave me for a holiday or a Easter present or something like that, and it's just like a Lindt dark chocolate or something like that, and I just cut that sucker up and put it in there. It doesn't have to always be. It doesn't have to be baking chocolate. I never use Hershey's chocolate because I can't stand it. But other things, it's Okay,
are we good now?
Yeah. Technically, I suppose I'm not folding. I'm actually just going to use the mixer, but
I do that too, and I'm always going to break my mixer with the chocolate chunk.
As possible.
Oh,
just mix them
good self mixer control there.
Yes, I've learned to be very like.
Yeah. But you eat the batter.
The batter. Hot tip. Taste your batter. It's not going to kill you. Okay.
Wow.
That little like that is not going to kill you. That is not.
It's not. And especially however, I don't typically taste my batter because for a while I had an allergic situation with raw eggs, and it would have been bad news. Not like anaphylaxis bad news, but just not good. So I don't taste a lot of batter. I also eat batter.
You'll notice that
I don't like cookie dough.
The cookie dough,
Mania one with my chocolate cookie love. I love
it. Bake your cookies straight.
He does like my chocolate chip.
However, it is way better, way better if you have the time and the patience to chill this dough.
Chill your dough. Hot tip.
Hot tip. We have so many tips today.
Chill your cookie dough. Do not try whatever the recipe says.
firmer than it was.
Do not try to just scoop out your cookie dough and throw it on a mat or throw it on a
now
bake.
we're going to actually shape and top the cookies. And then,
fill it.
I have
Makes
a
a
few
huge
things
difference.
that I wanted to show you.
This is my little like fancy gear section. I have 3 different sizes of cookie scoops, and I'm like a little embarrassed to.
Did you intentionally make them 3 different sizes?
They came in a 3-pack.
Oh, you mean your scoopers? I thought you meant chocolate bits.
Oh no!
Like extra.
The oven and not melt entirely.
No, that's a big
And
one.
then of course,
Yeah.
It's a I believe silver cup scoop.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's huge. My mom has the perfect scooper.
I'm using this cookie scoop. This will help me get relatively accurate same size measurements for cookies. If you don't have a cookie scoop or an ice cream scoop, you can absolutely use just like a measuring cup. We're aiming for about 1/4 of a cup.
Oh yeah, a quarter cup measuring cup would work pretty well for this.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But what I like is it's the with the squeezy you get an easy release. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom has this old school ice cream scoop that we use when we were kids for ice cream, and it makes the best shaped cookie I've ever made. And I almost stole it, but then I thought she would be mad, so I didn't.
Okay, this is another hot tip.
So that you get kind of all that craggy top. So the top part isn't entirely smooth.
Hey, look at you.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll never have time to do this, but ooh, nice.
It makes a huge difference.
That's very nice, Mr. Dylan.
So these cookies are going to spread a little bit, and if you do go to the Host the Toast recipe, you'll see that it does explain to do it this way. But what it does is it makes a really like craggy, crackly top.
I'm gonna make these later.
You
I'm gonna
should.
make chocolate chip cookies, and I'm gonna do maybe not this recipe, but because I don't know. But well, maybe this recipe. I'm gonna make.
You should do this recipe. It's part of the
because
show.
I keep meaning to do this. Can you mail them to Boston?
So, hot tip, I live in Boston, so you can just come by and get them.
But I don't. Yeah, no, I want to make these. Do you think it would work if I made them smaller rather than cafe size, like with the breaking in half and like craggliness? Like if I made them smaller?
Yeah, you probably could. You obviously won't get the same amount of like detail.
Oh, sure. No. Yeah. But gosh.
So can we actually pause, Mr. DJ, one more time? I'm sorry. So I wanted to make it a little clearer what I was doing with those. Again, I need a over the thing camera. But when you make these cookies, you don't just ball them up. You take the scoop. I'm big now. You rip it in half. You have the craggy bit on top.
That's important.
Put that on the baking tray with the craggy part facing up, and then you have some extra chunky chocolate that you put on top of the cookies, so that when the cookies bake, they expand, and you get all of this beautiful chocolate like right on top. And then I also had some very, very coarse pink
yes.
salt. Himalayan salt, yes. So you sprinkle a little bit of that on top. And the nice thing about the coarse salt is that it's not going to melt completely into the cookie. So even after it's all baked, you have these little crunchy bits of salt with the big chunks of chocolate on top. You know, this is the thing. People think chocolate chip cookies are super basic, super like anybody can do it, and anybody can do it.
Yeah.
But with these little extra tips, with the brown butter, with making the shaping right, with putting the cornstarch in to make it chewy, with putting extra chocolate on top, with putting the salt on top, you just elevate these things so much and make them so nutty.
Oh, there you go again.
I just really wanted to say
no,
that.
I think that's a great, like the salt that you put your salt on before you put them in the oven. I usually put my salt on after while they're still hot. So then it sticks to them because they're still like sticky on the top. But yes, that's the pink Himalayan sea salt is great. Malden salt is really great for that. Yeah. It's just that really hard stuff. I mean, salt and chocolate, it's my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you don't want to go overboard, but like you don't want like a salt cookie, but just a little
boop. Yeah.
And then we're gonna toss these bad boys into the oven. And it's super easy. I believe it's an 8 to 10 minute situation, but of course check them.
We'll take a look.
Dun dun dun.
I'm gonna just turn them around.
Nice.
So this is the halfway point, I believe.
Oh, so you turn
after,
I turn
about
often as well. Or not often. I don't always turn them, but I do.
And you can see these have firmed up just a little bit. That's all we really need.
So here's another hot tip that I mentioned in my original filming, but did not make the cut, but I think it's still kind of important. The way that I did this is I did these in like a 5 minute stages. Okay, so I had 2 pans, right? I scoop out the cookies, put them into the refrigerator to firm up for about 5 minutes while I scoop the second batch. Then I take the first batch out of the fridge, bake them in the oven for the first 5 minutes while the second batch cools.
Beautiful.
At 5 minutes,
so still
take those out, put the new batch in. You're just about ready. I think I have to put these in for a couple more minutes.
Those are like as big as my head.
They're so big and lovely.
So I'm gonna just turn those.
So it's cool. You work on this like 5 minute block schedule.
Well, that's a really great way to do it. I haven't done that, but to keep them cold and to just do them in 5 minute blocks. That's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as long as you're quick with the in and the out and the turning of the oven, your oven won't lose temperature.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, oh my goodness. Yeah. So good.
I want them again.
That looks like one of those cookies that Cookie Monster has on the Muppets, and like
it's like a puppet cookie.
It's a Muppet cookie.
They definitely did spread even with the chilling.
Yeah, the edges look crispy.
Very glad.
Yep.
So that's the thing. You take them out of the oven when the edges are firm, but the middle is still a little bit gooey.
Yep.
And then when they cool down, they'll firm up and they'll be more chewy.
Yep.
And it just is like incredible. You can see that one in the bottom right has spread so much.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. They look great. I love it when they curl up just a little bit on the that one in the back. It's curled up just a little bit on the edge, and you know it's gonna be so crispy and then chewy. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a good looking cookie.
Wait, are we gonna do? Oh yes.
Oh, the break.
Do the
cookie break. Yeah.
Get it. It's like gooey that it doesn't keep its shape when you lift it up. Oh, you can't see the inside.
Oh.
Pan up, Mr. DJ. Well, oh, there it is. Oh no, that was my.
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
Nice. Well done, sir. Well done.
Is anybody else turned on? I'm turned on. Anyone else turned on?
I mean, a lot of chocolate. I like that.
I'm loving the porno music too.
Yeah, I like the music with the cookie.
Yeah, we need more of that. Well, like, look, I can't even keep it
oh my gosh, that would be so good on vanilla ice cream.
It was.
Yes, Shirley Temple, run away with that cookie.
So anyway, there you go.
Yeah,
that is your classic elevated chocolate chip cookie. I hope you all enjoy it. I hope you got some hot tips.
There were a lot of hot tips. We've had a lot of hot tips today.
Real good.
And I'm going to make them finally. Like I've had the recipe saved on my like thingy on my phone. I don't know, whatever it's called. Anyway, to make them since you gave me the recipe. And I haven't done it. I'm going to make them. I'm going to make them smaller because that cookie is as big as my son's head.
It's like,
and they wouldn't finish them. They would waste them, but I'm going to make the recipe with the brown butter and all of the things.
So what you do, I don't worry where this pen came from. This is my pointer pen. Yes. So it, like you were saying, over vanilla ice cream, so good. What I did with a lot of these was like scoop out, like I would have a bowl that I would put ice cream in, but before I put the ice cream in, put the super chocolate chip cookie on the bottom, then scoop your ice cream on top, little sprinkle action, and then when you scoop in, make sure you get some of the cookie in there, and it gets kind of like ice creamy and soupy and delicious. And Mr. DJ just came. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That sounds good. That's some good stuff right there.
Yeah. So highly recommend these cookies. They're super easy. I mean, like I said, they're a little bit fussier than your normal recipe, but like look at the results.
Yeah, it's worth it. I mean, it's maybe a Saturday thing. It's a Saturday cookie rather than a Tuesday cookie.
Yeah, sure.
But
absolutely.
My cake, on the other hand, that we're going to see coming up is like a Tuesday cake.
That's a Tuesday cake.
Yeah, that's a Tuesday cake. Like you get home from work on Tuesday and you need some cake. This is the cake.
Before we get to the cake, though, we are going to pause for a brief little announcement, I believe. We're so excited to be working with 2MB Studios, which I actually just recently learned stood for Too Much Bread, which is fitting, I suppose. Yeah. And so we're doing the show every 2 weeks. On the alternate weeks, there is a show, The Great Baking Bash. So next Sunday, please check out the Great Baking Bash. And Mr. DJ, do we have a clip to promo that?
Hello, Gwen.
Hello, Julie. As you see, we're all bundled up because it's what? It's fall. We're already there.
And speaking of, it is almost time for our next episode of The Great Baking Bash on Sunday, September 20th at 3 p.m.
That's right. We are having a fall extravaganza to ring in the new season, and we have a very special theme for you that's not basic at all.
Indeed we do. Our next theme is pumpkin spice and everything, literally everything, whatever you want.
Have you seen Everything is Happening? Everything.
All of it.
All of it. Once. At the same time. It just won't let up. So let's add some pumpkin spice.
Well, if a baker would like to submit a bake, how might they go about that?
Well, Julie, don't you know that they can send us an email at greatbakingbash@gmail.com, and that's all. That's everything. Just send us a submission. You can send us a video, or you can join us live on the stream on the day.
So, you know when to find us. But as a reminder, where you can now find us on 2MB Studios Twitch page. It made perfect sense to go to a station that's named after bread.
Yes, and you know what? We love 2MB Studios, and you can never have too much bread. Get that bread. Get it.
See you in the tent. That was your segue.
Oh, a segue! The segue, gone the way of the dinosaurs. I'm going to cut all of this.
So yes, Too Much Bread. Before we get into the cake, I think they were talking about you can never have too much bread. Well, that's true.
That is true.
Bread is the food of life, right? Okay. So I have a little show and tell. Should we
yeah.
Show and tell, because they were just talking about bread. I'm making bread. I usually bake our bread on Sundays. I bake our bread. We don't buy it. So last week I made sort of a Pullman loaf. I did throw in a little bit of whole wheat flour, but the recipe that I use is a recipe for Julia Child's white sandwich bread.
Julia Child.
Oh, Julia. Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of her videos.
Talk about like I aspire to like that kind of.
That's a good impression.
It falls on the floor and you pick it up and just keep going, right? Yeah. So, this particular recipe has a starter. Now, there's lots of different kinds of starters. They're not all of the sourdough variety.
Yes.
And this particular one is called a biga. See?
Look at that goofy.
It's been sitting out.
Yeah, there you go.
It's been sitting out, so it's gotten even more bubbly. But it has a really nice, it just smells like bread
Sour.
times 1,000.
Yeah.
It's not super sour smelling at all.
Oh,
It's been in the refrigerator for about a week, but it just has flour, water, and a little bit of yeast in it. When you add it to the bread, it doesn't really do a whole lot to rise it necessarily. I mean, and it does, but not in the way that you would have to put this in bread and then let it sit for a while to get it to like really rise. So you add yeast into the flour, but just does so much for
so good. It's so good.
It's so good.
And I'm so excited because we can tease.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's why we were doing this.
That's why we're doing this. We were gonna wait till after your cake video, but don't worry about it. So our next episode in 2 weeks is going to be all about bread. And so, which I feel like is a very like mysterious kind of thing for a lot of people. And so we're going to demystify it with more hot tips.
Hot tips: flour, water, yeast, salt. That's it.
That's bread. Yeah. Done. Episode over.
On to the cake. On to the cake.
Yes, let's do cake. Carmen, do you want to intro your cake? Tell us we're doing a Tuesday cake.
Okay, so this cake is a Tuesday cake. There are some days that are very stressful and I come home and I just want some cake, right? Not like a layer cake that's going to take me a lot of time. I just want, something easy.
Yes.
This recipe is the yellow sheet cake from Sally's Baking Addiction. Her recipes are amazing on her blog. I've used quite a number of them besides this yellow sheet cake. It's so good. It has sour cream and buttermilk, I think. I don't know. It's the texture's great. I say in the video, but I'll say it again. It's like eating this cake is like being at my 7th birthday in the park, and my mom made a giant, in the 80s we just called it Texas sheet cake. And I don't know why. There's a reason behind that. I'll research it for next time. But it's on a big half sheet pan, and it's just covered in chocolate frosting.
It's so good.
It is so good. So let's, Mr. DJ, roll
Carmen the here. So today we're making a yellow sheet cake. I love yellow sheet cake. Usually like chocolate.
Yep.
Like layer cake is my like go-to.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I make for parties.
Can we talk about your pink ceiling too?
Oh yeah,
it
brings me joy.
Fudgy chocolate frosting.
Love it,
and it's amazing. This recipe happens to be from the blog Sally's Baking Addiction.
Our painter was like, "You want to do what?"
Like a lot of blogs.
Trust me.
Sometimes recipes don't work.
He was like,
so I try and
"This
stick
is
to
amazing." Like, I know.
Websites that have been really tested over and over again. But this one's great. I've got some things measured out here, and we're
Mr. DJ, could you pause for just a moment?
Make some cake.
I was like nervous talking over myself. There was a really important thing. A lot of blogs are not tested aggressively.
Hot tip.
You have to be really careful if you're using a recipe. And like I've thought about starting a blog. I don't have time for that. But Sally's Baking Addiction, her blog is great. Her ratios are great. Her measurements, everything is great, and they work every time.
Yes.
Back to the video.
At some point. There we go. Yes.
I just realized that my children took my quarter sheet pan to use as a stand for their rock candy making.
Yeah, a quarter sheet pan would have not gotten the job done. It's supposed to be a half sheet pan.
It'll work.
But they still were making rock candy.
Lightly flour it.
So is that the quarter sheet pan in your hand, or is that the half sheet?
It's a quarter. No, it's a quarter.
It's
not a sheet pan. It's a
the reason I'm making cake
9x13
anniversaries today, and we celebrated with a trip to Stu Leonard's where we got some fried chicken.
Yeah, Stu Leonard's fried chicken is on point.
Some mashed potatoes and green beans.
And fried chicken and champagne are a perfect pairing.
Excellent.
Champagne cuts the fat.
It's 2 cups.
Not 2 cups of butter.
Not 2 cups, 2
cup.
sticks.
2 sticks.
Like grease the pan.
I made the same mistake.
And then flour it. But I find with the particular pan that I'm using today,
Yeah, that particular
it
pan
doesn't quite offer enough.
needs a good
so
spray.
I use the spray. I've got my 1 and
Yes,
3/4
2
cup
sticks, not 2
sugar
cups.
here.
Mhm.
You know, most cake
Again,
recipes,
sugar is a wet ingredient.
Yep.
It's
Important.
almost equal flour to sugar.
Yeah, cakes are
Occasionally, I've been able
almost
to
equal.
like cut that a little bit for those who don't like too much sweetness, but you can't cut the sugar too much because
No.
then the cake formula just won't work right.
Important
So,
tip. Can't cut
gonna
sugar too
mix
much
this
or
up,
it won't
bring
work.
butter and
It'll
sugar
taste
together,
like dirt.
and then we'll start adding other ingredients.
You don't want your Tuesday cake tasting like dirt.
A lot of the time, I'll use my big
That's our mixing.
giant stand mixer. Or for this, I'm just lazy, and so I'm just using my
Another very
little
hot tip
handheld
for this
here.
kind of recipe is room temperature butter.
So you want to make
Oh,
sure
yeah.
it's
Don't
really
use cold butter
incorporated,
for
sugar's
cakes.
really
It won't
incorporated
work.
in the butter. It's nice
No.
and fluffy. I've got
Oh, my blue eggs.
beautiful eggs. They're
So pretty.
Yeah, it's weird.
green,
And they're
blue.
yeah.
I don't know. We're gonna add them.
Are those like
One
fancy farmer's market
at a
eggs?
time. Make sure when you
Yeah,
add the
I mean,
eggs, you combine
I don't know if they're fancy.
Moderately fancy.
egg
They're moderately fancy.
completely.
But we get them from our farm chair, the
Adding
Corbin Food Project. Yeah.
Oh,
Hi.
Hi. I don't know. Who is that?
I don't know. It's
Someone.
Isn't that
Oh,
all of these eggs
I
that
know
I
who
brought
that
from our
is.
farm chair,
you know who
they all had,
is?
yes.
very
Chef
unusual
Keels.
shapes. Well, not unusual. They were just all
It
different.
took me a
Oh.
minute.
Like people.
Yeah, it's my
He
brother.
also just gave it away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're gonna keep combining the.
So I
Uh,
also did notice that you did your eggs
butter, and
separately,
then I'm
not
gonna
all
Yep.
at once. That's important for cakes as well.
Yeah.
bit of
You want to
vanilla,
incorporate
and
each
then we'll
egg
move on to the dry ingredients.
separately.
And
so I've added
alternatively
vanilla. It has
to
quite a
cookies,
lot
you
because
want a
the
lot of
vanilla
air
cake, so it's very
mixed into
vanilla-y.
this
Yeah.
butter,
I'm
sugar,
really
egg
excited about
recipe.
this right
So.
here.
Oh, there's
Like
my
full
do-it-yourself vanilla.
Oh, that looks so good.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
working
since
on
added
making
vodka
vanilla,
and
but
one
it's
more
not
vanilla bean to
ready
make
yet,
more.
so-
Yeah.
Not quite ready, but I'm gonna try it out.
Okay.
That looks so
in
delicious.
this
Yeah,
little
I added a
bowl
little
right here,
bourbon as
I
well.
have some baking soda and baking powder and salt. I'm gonna add it into my flour.
Yep,
here.
mix those wet and the dry.
Yes.
And then
Do it. You won't
instead of
regret
taking
it.
out, like a big whisk, I'm gonna
Bake
just
it
sort of
up. Thanks,
Yep.
Sunshine
mix it
0121.
up a little
Yeah.
bit
Bake it up. We're baking it up.
with a fork.
Oh, look at my
Kinda
pretty nails.
Incorporate.
I had good nails in this video. That
Those
was
are
ingredients
great nails.
together.
mhm.
Now,
We
Yeah.
don't do close-ups on my
when
hands
we
for a
start to
reason,
put
so.
Oh,
the dry with the wet, which is milk and sour cream.
Oh, it's
the
milk and sour cream,
is
not
really
buttermilk.
what, like makes this cake
Buttermilk would work.
Yeah.
the best. It's just really light. It's fluffy. It just has a great texture.
Love it.
But I think more
I don't
people.
use cake flour for this recipe. It
Close
calls for
though.
cake flour.
Mhm.
I personally don't
Mhm.
like the crumb that cake flour often provides.
Oh, shit.
Great for cupcakes. I don't mind cake flour and cupcakes, but I don't really like cake flour.
The
Okay.
dry and the wet, ending with the dry when you're incorporating.
Yeah, that's an important tip.
That's
And
important. Tip. Do you
dry.
want to pause real quick so we
Yeah,
can,
if you
we
press
can
pause,
re-explain
keep
that?
Yeah, keep calm and bake on. But important tip: if you end with the dry, or if you end with the wet, it gets all curdly and weird, and you don't want that. It'll still work. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be sort of, but end with the dry. So
Well,
dry,
you've got
yeah, wet, dry.
dry. Yes. And so that's the adding those two things into the butter, egg, sugar
Yep.
combination thing. So you have kind of three parts going on.
Mm-hmm.
Butter, sugar, eggs, bloop, and then yes, dry,
Right,
wet,
right.
dry, wet.
And I promise it's not a complicated, like it's really easy.
Yes.
It takes 10 minutes to put this cake together.
Yes.
For reals.
For real.
It took me less because I had my mise en place in place
That's
for the
true.
video. Okay. But
That
it's
is true.
a really fast recipe. Okay. Moving on.
Sunshine, we're making a yellow cake with chocolate frosting right now.
You're going to want to scrape down the sides of the bowl, whether it's in a stand mixer or whether you're using your hand mixer.
Carmen, where'd you go?
Here. So, I mean, that's
I accidentally pressed log out instead of comma.
like
Oopsie doopsie.
Technology. Da-da-da-da. All right, see how beautiful that
Light
is?
and fluffy that is.
Yeah.
We're going to get this ready for the pan.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's our
That's,
nice.
this is
Like-
cake and my boob.
Like that looks like whipped cream. It just looks like
So
whipped
good,
cream.
Dylan. I can't even tell you. It was so good.
Oh my
I might have to
gosh.
I like to
some
have
later.
that, like, just
But it's like the
almost snack
the
cake,
fluffy
like,
cake and then just
Oh, look at that.
I hope everyone's just watching the cake and not
you
my
want to make sure you get
Your
everything.
one, not your one
my,
boob.
my one boob. Yeah.
Martha Stewart always says.
Yeah. So yes, that was another tip. Tip from Martha Stewart.
Everything.
Always get everything out of the bowl. Scrape everything out. You want
Yes.
every last bit.
Okay, so I put the cake in the
This
oven,
is a good tip.
and I'm not going to actually make frosting.
Mom tip.
I had some in the freezer.
Get it. Yeah.
I made this, like in the spring, and I had some extra frosting. So I'm gonna just put this in the bowl once it's defrosted, which it almost is, and
Actually,
whip it up again, and then I'll frost it with some sprinkles or something.
yeah, that's what sort of
Okay.
makes it fancy. Not really.
Out of the oven. Are you ready for the reveal?
I don't know if I'm ready.
Yeah. I mean, look how golden brown and like springy it looks,
Oh,
right?
I just want to like poke it. I want to
Oh, my daughter.
Yeah.
just like.
It's gonna go poof.
Yeah.
I made that
Side.
frosting actually for
Okay,
Oh,
so
here we
the
go.
cake is in the freezer cooling because on the countertop it just wasn't going fast enough for the children to have cake before bed. Anyway,
it's true.
here is my frosting that I had in the freezer. I'm gonna pop it in
God.
in a bowl,
Yeah.
and just with a hand mixer, it's super like
It has the special dark cocoa in it.
Ooh.
In addition to
Is
regular.
it like, is it Dutch process? Is it that kind of?
really
It's the
good.
Hershey's cocoa. Like
Oh.
that, I do use the
doesn't have any
Hershey's
actual,
cocoa,
like,
but yeah, but actually that's Dutch process.
fat in it.
Yeah.
It's really just a combination of
But it's the special
the like cocoa powder,
regular,
special dark.
Yeah. the special dark. Mhm.
And I'm
Mm.
gonna have a little bit of like leftover cream cheese, and I'm gonna throw that in there for just some a bright little zing. And I need to use this cream cheese. All right,
It was like a tablespoon of cream cheese.
whiz.
So here's where you and I are so
hand
different.
mixer,
Can we
and
pause
oh my gosh,
for a
look at
sec?
that.
Yeah.
Can we pause for a
So-
sec?
Yeah.
So here's what you did. You're like, I had this chocolate frosting in the freezer. Who knows from what? I think it's good, and it looks good. So I'll just defrost it, and then all I'm gonna do is like boop boop boop, whip it up, and then I think I just want some cream cheese in there, and I'm not gonna tell you how much. I don't even really know or care. I'm just gonna throw it in because I want some cream cheese, tangy, yum stuff, and like. Let's just do it. Like that would give me so much anxiety.
Yeah, it
because
would
I'd
give
be
you panic
how
attacks.
many grams of cream cheese go into this? And you're like, it's
About
fine.
an 8, maybe
Like,
8.
Do we even know what kind of frosting the original one was? Was it just like an American buttercream kind of thing?
I
or
just
like
made it.
ganache? Was it ganache?
I just made it. No, I just made it.
But like, okay, what went into the original? Just so that viewers might be able to recreate.
Oh, right. Okay.
They might
so
not
I
have a
think
random case of chocolate frosting in their freezer.
Okay,
The average viewer.
So I've made just regular butter. It had probably 2 sticks of butter.
Okay.
At the time, I may have put cream cheese in it at the first time. I don't remember. I don't think
No.
so.
Yeah.
I think it's 2 sticks of butter softened.
Yeah.
And probably a pound of powdered sugar,
Like
and-
fish, yeah.
some vanilla,
Yeah.
And probably a splash of milk or buttermilk. Probably a tablespoon.
And that cocoa powder.
Oh, and the cocoa powder. Probably a half a cup of cocoa powder and a quarter cup of special dark, maybe.
Okay. I mean, I'm not saying you need to remember your frosting recipe from by heart, but like, I just love how you're like, chocolate frosting.
Well,
I think it's enough. Like that, like I would be like, is it enough? Is the proportion of cream cheese the right thing?
Well, here's the thing with the cream cheese and why I did it. Here's why. This is a tip. Because it had been in the freezer.
Yes.
I didn't want to add more butter. I knew that it would probably be enough, but I also know that sometimes when you start whipping it, because it's been in the freezer and it's been frozen, there's extra water, it doesn't necessarily come together in the same way as it would have originally. So by adding the cream cheese, that's adding just a little bit more of fat, right?
Yes.
To kind of get it
to emulsify.
Big words, technical words that I know but just never use.
Sure.
But to emulsify and to just kind of bring it together, but then also because it's cream cheese adds that extra delicious.
The little tiny tangy.
Yeah, but there was probably like a tablespoon of cream cheese.
It looked about
But that's how I roll.
Yeah.
That's why we're good together, Dylan.
Yeah, because I would have bought more cream cheese to make that.
Yeah, no.
Specific amount. All right, let's go back to the tape. Sorry, I needed to.
Isn't it so pretty and swirly?
It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, that held up real well in the freezer. It has just a little bit of tartness from the cream cheese. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I took the cake out of the oven. Hopefully it's cool enough, but these children gotta go to bed.
Took it out of the freezer.
Here's my frosting. And I'm not gonna just like fancy.
So this is a completely cooled cake now.
Yes, it's a completely cooled cake.
Like,
hot tip: do not frost hot cake.
No, you'll end up with a big, soupy, disgusting mess.
Yeah, you will.
Everything will be ruined.
And like seriously, hot tip: anytime you see someone's gross Instagram picture of like runny icing or like frosting, or they're like, "Why didn't this syrup stay on?" or whatever, it is 100% always because they tried to frost a hot cake.
Golden vanilla cake.
Every time. It makes everything look terrible.
Just ice in the cake.
Frost.
It's happening.
Making a weird word.
Get some cake.
Oh yeah, the kids were freaking.
I better get to it. See.
Oh look, that's so pretty.
Kind of swirl.
Rachel, you are a hot cake.
This is a fancy like offset spatula. Well, I don't know if it's fancy.
You can use a knife for this. You don't have to have an offset spatula.
Yeah.
My mom
regular like butter knife or like the back of a spoon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sprinkles.
Little sprinkle magic on it.
Hell yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, beautiful.
Tuesday.
Pretty.
Tuesday.
It'll look even prettier when I cut into it and we see that nice yellow inside.
Yeah.
But can't go wrong with a nice vanilla sheet cake. All right, here we go.
Taste that cake.
I'm not even going to
choke on it. It's
Taste that cake.
Like cough.
Oh yeah, with your hand.
It's
Get in
so
there.
nice and fluffy.
Get in there. Yes.
Just the right amount of vanilla.
Perfect.
A little like odd little crunch from the
sprinkles. They were intentional.
So great to the end of a lovely Sunday. But it can also be a Tuesday cake too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yay. Tuesday cake.
That looked so good. That looked so good. Yes. Yeah. So I believe
we should wrap this up.
Yeah, I think we should kind of wrap it up. I'm so pleased with how this went. I love seeing your cake.
Yeah, and your cookies. Woo, gonna make those this week.
Yeah.
We're gonna have science. It'll be science for the children.
Yeah, perfect. It's chemistry and shit.
Yep. Oh, real. No, I mean my daughter's been making she made bread the other week. Like I gave her the measurements.
Yeah, no, I saw that
at work. Great. I was at work. I gave her the measurements by weight and she made the bread.
Yes, Ella, get
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Get it.
So we'll have
do we want to throw up our we didn't talk about this, but do we want to put up our socials real quick just in case anyone wants to like follow us?
Heights
Mr.
Baking
DJ. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no.
Okay, I'll go.
How do we do that?
My Instagram handle is just my name, Dylan J Usher, USCHER. That's it. At Dylan J Usher for Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of it. That's me. So you'll see lots of delicious things I post on my Instagram. Carmen, what is your Instagram handle in case anyone wants to follow you?
So I have a regular like personal one, but the one that I like to use for the baking things are Heights, like in the Heights, HEIGHT, Heights Baking Co. CO at Heights Baking Co. Yep. That's it.
Got it.
Yep. That's it. Follow me there. You'll see lots of food.
I love it so much. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us. We are so happy, and thank you all for joining us. And hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you were entertained. And you know, we're gonna be back in 2 weeks, and we're gonna be talking bread. So you know, I'm excited. Let's do this.
Yeah, bake with us.
Yeah.